Hi, this is Eddie here at the Eurotube shop, and today we're going to talk a little bit about our preamp tube testing rig. So, over here we have our main preamp tube testing setup, which is the Amplitrex AT1000. Before we get into that, we'll talk a little bit about the beginning process here. So back in the day, we used to use several of these Vacuum Tube Valley built tube characterizers, which are not bad units, but they definitely leave a lot to be desired. So with the AT1000, the VTV unit's basically been relegated to a heater. So that's the first step, is we get the tube in and we heat it up. It's critical that the tube has a certain amount of time into it for us to get accurate test results. So that's where we start. From the preliminary heating, the tube gets transferred over to the actual AT1000 unit. So with the AT1000, basically we have a fully computer integrated digital testing setup. So this allows us to check actual individual operating characteristics for both triodes individually. It also allows us to check for a multitude of faults, as well as noisy microphonics. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So when we're testing preamp tubes, we're looking for individual operating characteristics, not just calculated or theoretical tube gain, as a lot of people talk about. The reason we do that is because gain is a composite number. It's built up of several other specs. So you can have multiple preamp tubes with the same gain spec or the same gain test result, but the individual characteristics that make up that result can vary quite a bit. And that's why you can have preamp tubes that, even with the same gain test results, can sound a lot different. So by being able to test for the individual characteristics per triode, we can very accurately predict how the tube is going to perform, how it's going to sound, and help you guys get the sound you want out of any given piece of gear. So as far as the operating characteristics go, we're mainly looking at plate current, transconductance, and plate resistance. Those three are the main operating characteristics of the tube, and we test every single preamp tube we sell for all of those individual characteristics per side. So whether you're buying a standard tube from us for $10 or $11 or a fully matched and balanced gold pin tube for $20 or $30, they all go through the same test. So with that in mind, on top of the operating characteristics, we also check for a multitude of faults. So some of the faults we check for, basic faults such as shorts, filament functionality, things like that. We're also checking for more advanced faults, things you can't check with normal testers. So one really good example of that is a fault called heater to cathode leakage. This is extremely important in a lot of amps that use cathode followers. You guys out there with Mesa Dual Rex, or even say a vintage Plexi, these amps are notorious for having hot cathode followers, and a tube with high heater to cathode leakage can hum incessantly. So that's an advanced fault we check for, on top of things like gas and also grid leakage. So with all that in mind, we'll take a look at a spec readout here of one of our actual test results. So when you're looking at the test result page, this is what we actually see. So what you're seeing now is what we look at on every single tube. So you can see there's a lot of characteristics and a lot of parameters. But by doing this and going through this level of screening, we get extremely accurate and predictable tubes. And that's really kind of the baseline we have to be able to work with you guys to get you what you need. So that's kind of a general overview of what we do here. If you guys have any specific questions about anything we're doing, always feel free to contact us. We love talking to you. So over and out.